Hello everyone, it's David, Babylon 5, Season 5, Episode 12, The Ragged Edge. So my commentaries are going to probably be getting shorter and shorter, yay, because there's not much left to talk about. You don't have to talk about, well, this part is continuing on and that, we're bringing things now in for a gradual close. So, lucky for you guys, you don't have to listen to my annoying voice as much. But don't forget, after we are done with these last few episodes, though, we still have the movies to talk about. So I'm not letting you off the hook that easy just yet. Plus, we also are going to have all kinds of new material to talk about once the new series comes out. So, a little bit of a reprieve, but not that much of a reprieve. Delenn and President Sheridan find out the Alliance members are boycotting all future meetings until shipping lanes can be secured. And it's like they said, well, they kind of have a point. What's the point of being in this all-powerful alliance if you can't protect us from simple raiders? All of a sudden, we go into a little bit of a battle scene, and a man escapes in a life pod. So a possible witness to what was going on. We cue the entrance. We notice as Londo and Jakar come back, all of the Nards are bowing to Jakar. Why is that all of a sudden, do you think? Michael Garibaldi is woken up after sleeping in till 10 o'clock because he's had way too much sauce to drink. That's the one thing I actually am kind of glad I never missed work because I was too drunk to come into work. Somehow I always managed to sober myself up before coming into work, which is a good thing, working in a hospital, having to worry about whether your nurse is on the sauce or not. But, I kind of managed to somehow avoid that. Jakar discovers that Talon has liberated his book and that it has sold 500 to 600,000 copies. And that it will possibly outsell the Book of Jaquan by the end of the year. Uh-oh. And congratulations, now, Citizen Jakar, you are a religious icon. Michael Garibaldi arrives on Drazi Prime and meets his contact Tafik, and they are making arrangements to get the pilot that escaped, get him off of the Drazi homeworld, because this guy is basically running stolen or illegal goods into the Drazi space. So the Drazi want to get rid of him, they want to get rid of him, and the persons who are responsible, we find out, actually do get rid of him. Michael Garibaldi's friend Tafik is killed, but Michael Garibaldi is passed out on the balcony, too drunk to notice. And before, however, Michael Garibaldi can get to the witness, he too is also killed. Makes you wonder, if he had not been so sauced up, if he might have gotten that witness out. But Delenn arranges for a White Star to rescue Michael Garibaldi outside the capital city. Talon and Jakar go back and forth about what happens if the messenger, i.e. Jakar, becomes more important than the message. And Talon promises Jakar that if that ever happens, he will personally kill Jakar. Okay? In other words, by you asking that question, I pretty much can tell you, you don't have to worry about it. Because a lot of people that first start out, it's when people, especially when they're doing these sort of new age kind of things or things of that nature, I always get unnerved about the messenger, the person, becoming more important than the message or what they're trying to teach you. When that sort of happens, that's almost a sure sign, ding, 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 that you're involved in a cult. Okay? When the individual and I mean the singular individual, the leader of the group, becomes more important. Their welfare becomes more important than everybody else's welfare. That's the first sign that you're in a cult. At any rate, my opinion. Michael Garibaldi tries to debrief the others about what he saw, and it happened chance. Londo walks in late due to an elevator mishap, and before that, they discover there is a mole in their midst, and they can't figure out who that might be. And Garibaldi says, all I got was this little thing, and Londo says a little bit later, oh, what's that? And he goes, just something I found out in the Zocalo. And he said, well, let me look at that. Oh, yeah, that's the emblem that is worn by all the Centauri palace guards. It's from the first Emperor Toscano, who started it 2,000 years ago. And so, aha! What is it doing on Drazi Prime? So we now know that more than likely the Centauri have something to do with the attacks on the shipping lanes. And Jakar urges everybody not to tell Londo, because if Londo finds out about it, he might dig too deeply, and someone wants Londo Mollari dead. And so to keep him alive, Jakar advises everybody not to say anything to Londo. And so when Londo wants to inquire about certain things, he is now going to be written out of the loop. We zip on later, and Jakar ends up giving his first lesson. And one of the most heavily memmed things in Babylon 5, Jakar is trying to give a lesson to somebody who doesn't get it. I mean, he thinks, well, the whole of Jakar, the book of Jakar is holy, therefore how can you go against what's written here in the book? And he says, put your face in the book. And he cajoles this guy till he's actually now puts his face in the book and slams the book shut on him. People write certain things at certain times in their life. It makes you wonder, too, for instance, Jesus of Nazareth. We only have little snippets about his life experience. It makes you wonder what would have happened if we could go into the Wayback Machine back then and figure out what happens, in fact, it's led some people to conclude that at one point, after I believe the age of 12 when he left synagogue, that he may have somehow gone to the hills of the Himalayas and converted and became a Buddhist, which I know it's incredible to kind of think about something like that happening. I tend to personally doubt it, just because back in those days, people didn't leave their hometowns very often. And to get up and go all the way from the Levant, which is where Israel is, all the way over to India, unlikely. But it makes you wonder what happened. He got all these things of gold and myrrh and frankincense and all that. What happened to all that stuff? Makes you wonder. At any rate, put your face in the book, and slams it shut right on this guy's face. Dr. Franklin gets a call from Dr. Benjamin Kyle, who's the first doctor on Babylon 5. He was in the pilot episode, called He is retiring and wants Dr. Franklin to take over for him on January 1st. Thankfully for Dr. Franklin, not till after the Drakh Plague. And Michael Garibaldi, we find out, is passed out in bed, missing an important phone call. But at any rate, as we're winding things down, I would like to get people's opinions, not only on this episode, but what do you want to see happen to this channel during the new reboot? What kind of direction would you like? Do you want me to just sit down and give my opinion on things? Do you want me to try and splice in little bits and pieces of whatever I can get a hold of that that I can get away with without getting a copyright strike? What sorts of things do you want to see happen during the remainder as we're winding things down as far as the old series is concerned. And, of course, as always, what would you like to see happening in the new series? See things kind of tying in from one series to the next, or do you want there to be an absolute clean break? At any rate, as always, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next episode.